Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial. Today I am going to show you how to make a fish tail train, and I am going to start off with a little bit of illustration so that you all can understand better what I am trying to do. So this is just your normal basic skirt pattern from the waist to the ankle length, but this time this part is going to be flayed up to the knee, and this is going to be my knee line, and I'm just going to take my knee measurements and I'm going to connect my lines. From my knee I will flay it all the way down to my ankle length. From the center front knee part, I will take 3 inches or 4 inches, depending on how much curve you want, and just connect it like that. And on my knee, I will take about 3 inches upwards and just connect it so as to have a little bit of curve right there at the knee. Now, the front is done, and I'm just going to cut this out. Now, to start the back pattern, all you need to do is to mark your zipper allowance on your back pattern, which can be 1 inch or 2 inches, and just place the front pattern and just retrace, as you can see me do now. From here at the center back, I will take 3 inches or 4 inches, depending on how much curve you want for the back, and just connect it like this. And now, next thing you're going to do is you need to determine where you want your tail to start. Now mine is going to start 6 inches below my hip line. Now from your center back, I'll take 3 inches. From your zip line, that is where I take down measurement. Now connect that mark to your we want your tail to start. Now take 1/2 inch for allowance like this, and this part is going to be going off, and just cut. Now you do this because you're adding tail to it. That is why we did that thing we just did right there. That is why we just created a curve at the center back of our pattern. Now to make our tail, all you need is to take these measurements from where your tail starts from to the length, and get your fabric and fold it like this. Now you see this part, this is the part that joins to the curve on your skirt. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that measurement you took on your skirt, that tail to length measurement. Now what you're going to do is, now depending on how long you want your tail to be, you can take the measurement right there at the center back of the tail, or you can just eyeball the curve and just curve it out. Normally I just eyeball it and I just cut out however way I want the tail to be. Now I'm just going to curve this center back out, and this is what your tail should look like. You can see how simple and easy that is. And it is always best to notch here so you know the part that goes right into where the tail starts. So now I'm just going to pin this so you all can see what the final look looks like. And can you see that, guys? That is your tail. You can even use this to make a bridal train. And let's move on, guys, into the main tutorials for better understanding. Now, like I said, all you need is your basic skirt pattern, and I have a tutorial on how to draft this. I'm going to put the link below so you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this at the knee length for you to understand this better. Now, once I am done cutting, I'm just going to place this on my fabric and retrace for the front and also for the back. And this is very important. When making a fillet down to the ankle length, make sure that you come upwards by 3 inches from your knee. Make sure you come 3 inches upwards from your knee. And that is what I am going to do right here. I'm going to take that 3 inches. You can use 2.5, you can even go 4. And that is what I just placed on my pattern right there, from my knee upwards. Now what I am basically doing is I am taking the length I want from my skirt, from my waist down to my ankle length. You can see the little mark I placed on my fabric right there at the bottom part of my skirt. That is 18 inches. I took 18 inches for my ankle length, and I'm going to connect that 18 inches to that 4 inches mark on my knee line. As you can see, the bottom part is a little flayed out, just like I showed you during the illustration. You can see that. Now we are almost done, but what you're going to do is on this center front, just like I showed you, you're going to come downwards by 2 inches or 3 inches and just connect it right there to your 18 inches length. And now we're just going to cut this pattern out, but make sure that you notch your darts so it would reflect on the other side. Now I'm just going to take the darts measurement so as to place it on the other side of my fabric, as you can see. And we are done with the fronts. And this fabric that I am placing my markings on is called bridal satin, and that is what I am going to use to line my lace, the lace I am going to be using for this tutorial. Now for the back, I am also using my bridal satin. As you can see, I have placed my zipper allowance from waist to bottom. Now what you're going to do is, like I showed you in the illustration, place your front fabric on the back fabric, just on that zip line, and make sure your front fabric is folded, and you're going to fold that folded part of your front fabric on the zip line of the back. Now what you're going to do is retrace the front on the back. Now as you can see, I made little indication on my hip and also on my knee so as to get where the lines are. Now I'm just going to go on and make my darts, and I want to believe everyone already knows how to make the skirt darts. If you do not know how to make your skirt darts, please go and watch the skirt video. I'm going to put the link in the comment section. Now on the bottom part of your skirt, just like I showed you, you're going to take 4 inches or 3 inches and just connect that mark to the ankle length, just like we did for the front. And what you're going to do now is determine where you want your tail to start. Like I told you, mine is going to start 6 inches below my hip line. Now once I have marked that, on my zip line I'm going to take 3 inches inwards. From that zip line I took 3 inches inwards. Now using my ruler, I am just going to connect that mark to that mark, and I'm just going to connect the line like this. Remember, I showed you this in the illustration so as to make this process easier for us. Now next thing you will do is you're going to take 1/2 inch mark on this line. This is going to serve as joining to it's going to serve as allowance to join to your tail fabric, so this way it will not affect your measurements. And right now I'm just going to cut out this fabric because we are basically done. Now this is going to be a little different from the illustration. I'm going to be using this part of my skirt that I cut off. I'm going to use it to cut out for the tail length. Just like I showed you in the illustration, fold your fabric like this in a triangle form. Now I'm going to place that piece I cut off from the back that I said I'm going to use to get the tail length. That is what I just placed on my fabric right there, and I just marked exactly where the back ends, as you can see. Now I'm just going to eyeball these just like I told you I would, and I'm just going to connect it all the way down. Mostly what I do is I just work with how much fabric I want, and sometimes it's best to go in and measure how much you want your train, how long you want your train to be, but I choose to eyeball mine because I want it to be a bit longer. Now once you cut out the bridal satin, you should have this. And this is the lace I am going to be using for this tutorial, and the bridal satin is going to serve as the lining. Now I'm going to place my lace on the bridal satin, and I just folded it the same way that I folded the bridal satin, and I'm just going to go in and cut out the exact shape I have on my bridal satin. Now remember to notch your fabric like I showed you in the illustration. And now this is what my bridal satin train looks like. You can use this for your bridal train. You can use this for anything you want. Now this is what the lace on top of the bridal satin looks like. You can see how it tones that down and gives it another kind of feel. Now I'm just going to go and stitch all the edges together so as to join the lace to the bridal satin. Now for the back, as you can see, I have placed my bridal satin on my lace, and I have cut out my lace, and I cut out 2 for my lace just like I have 2 for my bridal satin. Now just go on and hold your darts and stitch your darts on your bridal satin and also on your lace individually. Now place your lace on top of your bridal satin, wrong sides together, and stitch all the edges so as to hold the lace to the bridal satin, and make sure you do the same thing for the second side of your back. Now here is the bridal satin of the front. Go on and stitch your darts for your bridal satin. Also make sure you do the same for your lace. Now place the wrong sides of your lace to the wrong side of your bridal satin and stitch all the edges together. Now join the good sides of your skirt together. That is the back of your skirt. Now from the waist downwards, I am going to be taking 7 inches. I marked 5 inches here, which I later changed to 7 inches for placing in the zipper. Now from this part where the tail starts from, we're going to mark our zip allowance all the way up to meet this mark. Now that we have placed that, we're going to stitch from one point to the other point. Now as you can see, I am done making that stitch. Now this part, like I said, is going to be where the zipper of the back is going to sit. Now I have pinned the zip opening, and right here on this opening we're going to fix in the tail because this is where the tail is going to sit. So now we're just going to go in and place it in like this, and we're going to pin all around it and also stitch all around this.
Run free.
And now as you can see, I am done joining that train to the back opening, and this is what the inner part looks like, as you can see. Now the next thing I did was to place my front and back skirts good sides together, and I stitched the sides. As you can see, I have stitched the sides of my skirt from waist to length. Now next thing you're going to do is go in and fix in your zipper. As you can see, go in and fix in your zipper, and you are almost done. Now here is a little trick I am going to do on the bottom part. From the side seam to side seam of the front, I am going to double fold and stitch. And from the side seam to side seam of the back, I am going to put horsehair braid to it. You don't have to do what I am doing, guys. You can improvise and do whatever you want. And I'm just going to place this horsehair braid on the good side of my fabric, and I'm just going to start making my stitches all around the back of my fabric. And once I am done making the stitches, I'm going to cut off the excess I have, and I'm going to flip this horsehair braid to the good side, to the wrong side of my fabric, and I'm going to start stitching on it. And finally, we have come to the end of this tutorial, guys. You can see how easy and simple it is to make this. Like, you can use any fabric you want. You don't have to use the kind of fabric I used. You can just use the very simple fabric, like maybe you're lining, and practice this, and you would see how beautiful it's going to come out looking. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel for more exciting and informative tutorials. And I hope to see you in more tutorials to come. See you, stay safe, and see you.
Run free and dive into the sky.